What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Movie Dive. We are starting a new thing this month. It's called the Movie Club, where once a month, me and a co-host are going to give each other a movie to watch. We will review it here on the Movie Dive. This month's theme is nostalgic sports movies. I was deemed the task to watch 2009's The Damned United, and I gave my co-host the task of watching The Replacements with, of course, the legend Keanu Reeves. Let's talk about it. What's going on, guys? We are back. It is now nighttime. I know I did the intro during the daytime, but hours have passed. People have kids, people have lives. This is once again Matthew. He is in a different location every time we do a podcast. The thing that we started doing is we're going to give each other one movie per month to kind of go and check out that the other person hasn't seen. This first month, I don't know why I thought about The Replacements, so I was like, let's do a theme of nostalgic movies, and he gave me The Damned United. I think the funny part about this is when we did a sports theme, I feel like I did the most American cheesy movie possible and he did the most like British football movie possible. We will start with The Replacements, so I'm kind of going to ask him questions on positives, negatives, random things on that sense. I'm not going to ask you about the movie yet, but how was your experience with watching a random movie?
I love it. I think it's a great idea. This is one that I probably would never have thought to ever watch, for example. I'm a huge NFL fan as well. I'm a big Colts fan. So I've watched, a bunch of, Who's Yours, Rudy, Remember the Titans, all that kind of stuff. And I like a good sports, feel-good kind of movie. So I was kind of excited heading into this. So.
Did we look up what year The Replacements come out? Was it late 90s or early 2000s?
It was 2000. Well, this was the first that he did after The Matrix. I mean, that's how you follow up,
So I guess we're going to start out for The Replacements. Came out in 2000. We're going to start out with what he thought the positives were of it. So we're just going to go strictly into what he enjoyed about the movie.
Positives. It felt like the platonic ideal for rewatchable. It's during football season. I'm in Illinois, so it's like the leaves are turning. It's kind of starting to get cool. I know it's like the complete opposite where you are in Phoenix, but it felt like, a cozy film that I literally did throw this on like a Saturday afternoon when it was sleeping.
Perfect time
after the house was exactly. It was ideal. Crack a beer. It's 2 PM. Football is I'm not a college football guy, although Pat McAfee's slowly pulling me in because I love him as a former Colt. So this felt like a really good time of year to watch that movie for sure. So that was a big thing. And then also a big positive for me was the cast, which is just insane. Outside of Gene Hackman and Keanu, Jon Favreau,
who's ripped
just
in the
out of nowhere. He's absolutely tanked. He's he reminds me of the character on Friends. He plays like a guy who wants to be a UFC wrestler or a fighter or whatever they're called. So he's in that zone. You got Faison Love. You've got David Denham. And there's one guy which I'm going to get to in a later question, which I'm excited to talk about. But that cast is just crazy.
So, judging off what you said, it sounds like you're kind of pulling teeth to say good things about this movie. So, yeah, good old The Replacements. Go into your weaknesses of the.
All right, I'll keep it tight. I know the plot was loosely based on real life, but it felt very, almost like Disney Channel sports movie cliche. The dialogue was trash. I mean, I don't know who wrote this, but it felt like a 10-year-old probably wrote it. I think that the biggest issue with the film with me was there was this weird dissonance between being really earnest and then having this gross out comedy parts to it. So you've got Gene Hackman who's essentially doing the same movie he did in Hoosiers, where it's all heart and it's all just if you dream it you can do it kind of stuff. And then you've got the stuff happening with all the cheerleaders and just a ton of weird humor that just feels completely in a different movie. I feel like Hackman was probably not on set when they filmed those scenes, and he's just he's doing a true blue really good feel good American sports story, and then he's got no idea of what else is happening on the sideline. So it just felt like it's 2 different movies just spliced together, which just maybe it works when you're 10, I guess. But I mean, there's tons of the misogyny and the casual racism and some weird stuff that just hasn't aged well. But that's kind of a lot in 90 seconds.
Yeah. So I've not seen it in a long time, but still me and my college friends would quote it all the time. Like we'd
Mhm.
be like, one of us would be like, "Hey man, I got to study for this test tomorrow," and I'd be like, "No, you got to have heart. You got to have heart." There's there's that. There's the ridiculous cheerleader scene out of nowhere. I know it's probably what you're talking about. Like doesn't age. My favorite scene of the whole movie is where they're all like bullshit in a room, and out of nowhere, Keanu goes, "Quicksand. I'm scared
Yeah.
of quicksand." I'm like, this is the cheesiest thing.
He's
If
not shaking the bad actor accusations
if
ever.
someone did that in a real locker room, they'd be like, "Shut the fuck up." Like there's, but an interesting story. I don't know if you heard about this. Is like this is the only time in a movie where Keanu he trained so much to become a quarterback. He got a tryout. I think it was like with the
Yeah.
Ravens or something. I forgot who he
Yeah,
was
I
with.
did see that.
So that dude is dedicated, even though he's a bad actor at times. That dude dedicates himself. Yeah. So, what are your stand-up performances or character? Yeah, we're gonna go with that. What is
Mhm.
the character you connected with the most?
You're not going to believe this, but it's
I know
Nigel
exactly.
Gruff
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that.
by Reese Ifans, who is he's in a number of like British movies. He weirdly like pops up in the last Harry Potter movie as one of the characters'
Mm-hmm.
dads, which is weird, but he's forever known and beloved as Hugh Grant's roommate in Notting Hill. The fact that he didn't like kick a field goal and then like go and eat some mayonnaise thinking it was yogurt, or like say nice round firm buttocks and like in like his Welsh accent or something. He was just like playing it kind of straight, which was really funny. And obviously in the fight scene in the bar, he's like he just drop hits someone in the nuts. It's just I don't know. I just was not expecting to see him in this movie of all
Yeah.
movies. So I was just
The,
like, that's my guy. I'm into it.
did you
Funny.
find parts of the movie like actually comical, or do you was any of it just like this is ridiculous?
No, I did. Oh, for
Okay.
sure. I will get to that in the next question, for example.
And that would be yeah. So, how did the movie's themes or messages resonate with you, or if at all, is there any certain scene that you particularly liked? And we can start in three, two,
Mm-hmm.
one.
All right. Movie themes, message. I think it would have been way better if it was just like a straight biopic and like a dramatic retelling rather than like trying to shoehorn in all this like weird, gross out comedy. So the bits with Gene Hackman as Jimmy McGinty and like Keanu kind of in the background trying to catch a fly with his mouth open or something. That's all good stuff when Gene is doing Gene and like he can't be bad in a movie, you know. He's just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
like we were watching the live action 101 Dalmatians tonight with my son, and Glenn Close is in that as Cruella, and it's like everyone else is in this like really weird movie, and she's just like going for it. I love that kind
yeah,
of stuff. I think like he would have been much better served if it was like a Remember the Titans kind of movie. Basically, favorite scene was in the jail cell, and they're all singing "I Will Survive" like Gloria Gaynor, and
yeah.
I think the funniest part of that was like Keanu Reeves being into it. I'm just like, this guy would not be into this at all. Like, he wouldn't be
No,
like
no.
hyped up over these people singing like "I Will Survive." So unintentional comedy, I guess, but that was the funniest part for me. I'd say.
I guess next question. Yeah, would you recommend this film to anyone? Why or why not?
No. I I think there's better sports movies,
Yeah,
there's better comedies, and there's better sports comedies, you know. So I think, you know, one thing that you sort of like picked up on like old letterboxed reviews that I've written of American comedy stuff is like this type of humor just like misses
yeah, yeah,
British audiences entirely. So like it's been a long time since I've watched anything like Superbad or Pineapple Express or anything like that. So that kind of stuff I need to give it a rewatch. But I'm thinking of like even The Waterboy with like Sandler, you know, Caddyshack. That's a great sports comedy with Bill Murray. So if you want to watch something where it's like an underdog story with like really good feel good attitude, remember the Titans. You know, if you want to watch a sports comedy, there's like a ton of National Lampoon kind of stuff which works
yeah.
really well. Yeah, I can see why you 10 years old would have liked it and why it's like a college like it was a fun like background thing that made me laugh a couple times. But I mean, if I'm actually sitting down and recommended a comedy or a sports movie, this would not be on my list. But I appreciate the offer.
Was your wife there or no?
No, she was
No.
napping. No, absolutely not.
So the best here is so what is the final rating out of 100 you give it?
So I used your criteria.
Yeah.
The highest individual rating I gave it was 5 out of 10 on the rewatchability because I could see that.
Mhm.
It's just like a fun one. But
You didn't give
overall, it
acting a
came out.
10?
I gave acting a 4 actually because
Oh,
Gene
okay.
Hackman, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
It evened out to a 31 out of 100. So don't hate me, bro.
That's like a 1 star. You really hated that. Dang, well, I feel like talking about the movie, you didn't sound that harsh. But
No, I think I'm a harsh critic in general. Like my average like skews pretty negative, and I like it to hate watch. I watch a lot of movies that are bad on purpose
this
just
is
to
a
be
good
like,
hate watch movie though.
yeah, yeah,
Like it's
exactly, because
you're
you
not
kind of
bored
enjoy it on
watching
the
it.
way, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why it's 31 and not like 21.
So yeah, so now we're gonna jump over to the Damned United.
So obviously you're a huge Real Madrid fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
We've had some pretty good matchups in the past decade, actually, which has been
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
in Champions League. But I mean, this is an old English story.
Yeah.
Before the Premier League, this is like when the old first division was in play. So had you even heard of the name Brian Clough?
No.
No,
Never. Never knew about this story. When you gave me the Damn United title, I was like, oh, I'm watching a Manchester United movie. Like that's what I
That's what
thought.
I thought when I was like going into it. Like I can't remember how I would have been like a teenager. I'm like, oh, they made a movie about Sir Alex Ferguson or something,
Yes,
So
exactly. It's a documentary on Manchester United or something. But
all right, well, what were your positives about the movie?
well, Michael Sheen is always Michael Sheen. When the movie first started, I thought this was the sequel or prequel to Frost Nixon, but it didn't turn out to be that way. But no, positive actually is I really like the football scenes. I think everything looked really
Mhm,
grounded and really real. When you watch,
mhm,
I swear, when you watch some football movies here in America, like soccer football movies, it's just like this was in front of a studio green screen. There, you can tell it
mhm,
was in England. You can tell it was a small stadium. The audience felt real. The rain felt real. Everything just felt like it was legit. That is probably my favorite part of this movie.
mhm.
I always love watching good soccer movies. Another great thing is how the story progressed in the sense of something I've never seen before or knew about before. I thought the acting was really good as well. This guy, he's never bad. Cole Meany, is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Colm. Yeah,
Colm, yeah.
incredible actor.
He's really good in the movie. I thought, yeah. So all in all, that I did think in technical aspects, the coloring and the editing style was pretty cool. Cinematography
Mhm.
was pretty cool, especially I don't know what the budget was for this movie, but it couldn't be that high.
Budget was 10 mil.
See, yeah. I mean, if they made this movie here in America, it would be for streaming. It'd be $170 million. So, and it would look more fake. So, and that's not even a joke. Like you watch Ted Lasso, the game scenes in Ted Lasso. I'm like, what the hell is
Yeah,
this? Like
I know. Don't get me started
the
about that.
Manchester City, the Man City uniforms in Ted Lasso look like they were like from Temu or something. Like it's just
On like digitally rendered on like the Avengers uniform or something.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, so I really liked how the authenticity of like what this movie looked like
Nice.
is my most positive part about it.
So, what were the film's weaknesses or areas that you didn't like?
Weaknesses I would say is I don't like how the story jumped back and forth. I wish there's the
Mm,
parts I found a lot more interesting was him with the lower level team and bringing that up. I wish the whole movie was about that. And at the end, they
mm,
were just like, then he joined Leeds, but I mean, it kind of was like jumping back and forth, and I found it a lot more interesting when in the past. So like during the future parts, I just didn't seem to care as much. Sometimes Michael Sheen to me is like seems like he's acting too much. Like
mm.
that. I mean, of course, the coach kind of I guess they have their similarities of like cockiness. I don't know how this guy was in real life, but
Oh, yeah, it was all very accurate. Like, he
yeah,
thought he was like God's gift to men, basically. So,
yeah. So, but that was my main weakness. I would say is
mhm,
I really wish I could see more of like him with the underdog story rather than
mhm.
when he went to the new team and things were working out as well.
I know this is like a really small movie, and you've already like mentioned Colm, but Was there a standout performance or character you connected with the most?
I guess I can go. We can go back to Michael Sheen. I guess he is the
Hmm.
again since it's a smaller budget. He is the main guy of this movie. He runs through it, and I bet you because I know. Wait, this came out. That mine. This came out after Frost Nixon. So I was wondering if
2009. So I think
this was
that's
right at Frost Nixon was 2008.
there you go.
But yeah, so I guess he would be the standout. There's not too many characters. A lot of the soccer football players in the movie are kind of like pushed to the background and just
Hmm.
kind of are what they are. So yeah,
Although
he
you get
would.
a younger Stephen Graham in there, is like I think he's their striker at Leeds. I don't know if
Yeah,
you know who Stephen Graham is, but he's like a really good like character actor that's been on like British TV and film for like ever. So you
yeah,
get a lot of those kind of British people that you know, like Jim Broadbent, Timothy Spall. Like there's tons of people you recognize, but no one like really gets the chance to like shine like Sheen. Wow, that was a line. How about that? How did the movie's themes or message resonate with you, and was there a particular scene that you liked most?
themes of the movie. I mean, I don't because I know the main thing with the movie was like play with sportsmanship, and that was the part that resonated the least. I was like, no, win at all costs. I was watching that. I was like, I disagree with this guy. If they were winning before, whatever. So that's why that
You're
was like a
such
main.
a such a Real Madrid fan. You're like, we need to win our 57th Champions League at any
Yeah.
cost. So.
So I mean, that was like also when they were, going back and forth with the stories. I was less interested because I was
Mhm.
like, can't really resonate with that. But certain scene wise, I mean, the best scene I would say is when he's doing the interview next to the coach.
Mhm.
Towards the end of the
Mhm.
movie, I like their
Mhm.
hate banter that they have back and forth together. Or there was also a
Mhm.
cool scene on the when he found out he was getting the job and he was on the beach. Um,
Yeah,
I
that
like
is
that
cool
scene as
actually, and
well.
he gets his son involved. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's always
and
been
his son is now a football coach as well. So how about
really
that? Mhm.
where at.
He's at Mansfield. He
Okay,
was at he coached Derby, which is where Brian Clough coached for that was his long stretch before Brighton, and then from Brighton it was Leeds. But yeah, Nigel was Derby, and then he's been at Mansfield since 2020, so he's doing all right.
so Darby really just like went and won the Premier League back in the day like that.
They were like a pretty like a better team. Or they're pretty terrible now. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
they fired Wayne Rooney, so that kind of says everything. So
Dude, I've never seen someone
yeah.
age more than that guy.
Would you recommend this film to others, and why or why not?
Yeah, I'd recommend it to people watching soccer movies because I don't know if I've seen many soccer movies that are that good. And again, this like everything seemed pretty authentic in it. I really like the look. They made it maybe they shot on location, but I really like the look of the stadium, like with the wood
Hmm.
panels and the old school feel of it right in the middle of the city. So I really like that's definitely why I would recommend that because I really like those parts and aspects of it. So and it was also a pretty good quick watch as well.
What would you give it out of 100?
The highest I gave it was true to its genre, which was 8 out of 10 because I think it went towards what it was going for. The lowest I gave it was a 6, and that was just I gave a 6 for story, writing, editing. Sound a lot of sixes. And my final score to this was a 65 out of 100. So a 3-star movie, 3 out of 5 is what I gave it.
Dang.
What did you give this?
I'd probably give this like a 70-ish. I just thought because you recommended to me like an American football one, I'd go like complete opposite and like a super serious British like football drama. So yeah, it's up there, but it's a cursed category because they always put out like the worst movies when it comes to like football movies.
All right, well, yeah, we can go ahead and close out. So next month we'll be doing a Christmas movie for we'll do a classic movie because we've seen most Christmas movies. We'll be reviewing that. So that was my review for The Damn United. That was his review for The Replacements. And we will see you guys next time.